So we're gonna check this video out. This guy right here is supposed to be a lawyer, which would mean that he's smart in the brain, maybe. How can we counter Candace Owens' efforts to sabotage Vice President Harris' campaign? In this right here, I'll move myself out of the way. He says, Candace Owens is again promoting white supremacy. I don't know if Candace Owens ever promoted white supremacy, but we're going to listen to him for as long as I can, and we'll see what he's talking about.
Hello, everybody. I am still on vacation, but duty calls. I have got to absolutely opine on what Candace Owens is out here doing. Yes, Candace Owens has put out a video where she is doing what she does, basically trying to show that Kamala Harris is white, not an African American like Kamala says she is, right? So we got a lot to talk about, and I have a little bit of time to talk about it. I'm not in my regular studio, still on vacation. This is my last day, but I had to get in on this discussion. So stay with me because this is critical. I'm going to show you exactly what Candace Owens is trying to do. Stay with me. Share, comment, subscribe, and click the bell so you'll get notification every time we drop one of these videos. All right, as always, please go to Amazon.com, get your copy of my book.
Get to it, bro.
That she's attempting to do. I watched her video last night where she is going through the genealogical record of Kamala Harris, and she's trying to debunk Kamala's claim that she is a black woman, and it is really pathetic. But as an attorney, I know exactly what she's doing, all right? And I'm going to explain to you what she's doing and how we can counter what she's doing. So first of all,
what she's doing is saying that this lady is a fraud and she's a liar and she living lies, she's speaking lies. That's, if you have half a brain, that's all you need to know. This lady lives in lies. That's what she's proving. Why do you want to counter? Why do you want to support a person that lives in lies? That's called the Antichrist. If you're on that, then you're on that. But you know what the Antichrist means? That means you believe there is Christ.
He's trying to create a scandal by arguing that Kamala is really white and that she lied about being black when she, for example, lied about the identity of the woman she claims was her grandmother. So she's saying that Kamala's book is rife with lies. I mean, it's filled with lies because Kamala has the picture of her.
Yeah, let's take a look at this picture right here. According to all the research that Candace Owens did, this is who Kamala claims is her grandmother. According to the legal genealogy, birth certificates, death certificates, this, that, and the other, Kamala's grandmother died 4 years before Kamala was born. So, who's this? That's all I'm asking. I don't know. That's all I'm asking.
Her grandmother and some other pictures in the book, and Candace is saying that she basically lied when she said that this particular woman, was her grandmother.
Barrel.
It is a crazy argument, but that's what she's doing. She's trying to create a scandal. She's trying to say that there's this big scandal because Kamala wrote a bunch of lies in her book to cover the fact that she is really an Indian white woman. I mean, it is crazy. I mean, you can see with your own eyes that.
You can, before he say something stupid, I know he's about to say. Her book is called The Truths We Hold. when this woman talks and lives and lies. And yeah, homeboy, tell us we can see with our own eyes. Let's see.
That Kamala is black, but Candace is out here desperately trying to create a scandal. And the reason why she wants a scandal so bad is because Kamala is basically scandal free. She's been a prosecutor for 30 years, right? And she's been elected over and over again.
Kamala's not scandal free. Kamala was trying to lock up parents. There's video out there. If I was good at editing, I'd put it here, but the lady said that Kamala was going to lock her up because her daughter missed a lot of school because her daughter has a handicap. If that ain't scandal, Kamala locked up an inordinate amount of black men for petty marijuana crimes and just a whole host of other things.
So she is desperate. The Trump team is desperate to create a scandal. So that's number one. Number two, she's trying to redefine Kamala. Kamala knows who she is, and she knows she is a black woman, and she knows that her forefathers on her father's side are black people, although there is probably some mixture because, listen, that's the way things were during slavery. Those white men were raping those African women. I have it in my own family, okay? For example, my great-great-grandfather, my paternal great-great-grandfather is a white man. I mean, a white man, full-blooded white man. So there is in my DNA quite a bit of European blood, quite a bit. But I'm still black. I am still an African American because we know in this country, one drop of that black blood will make you black anyway. In other words,
and that's the thing that's like, you talk about white supremacy, like he say right here, Candace Owens is again promoting white supremacy. Now, y'all have to understand, when you have this one drop black blood thing, that was totally based off white supremacy. And here's the way that it worked. They said, if you got one, the white supremacist supposedly, who was ever, in charge of that, they said if you got one drop of black blood, that means you're tainted. That means you gotta go over there. You gotta go over there. Get away from us. I don't care what you look like. If it's been determined that you got one drop of black blood, you're tainted. So go over there. So when these people come out here and say, you got one drop of black blood, you're black, and they carry that as a badge of honor, just know that it was rooted in white supremacy. It was meant to exclude you.
Whereas that's the way people will see you, right? And you do yourself a big favor if that's the way you see yourself. And so I love my blackness, although I have bona fide, I've done my DNA, I have bona fide white ancestors. So for somebody like Candace Owens or Donald Trump to say, well, Augustus just found out or just began to identify with his blackness, knowing that I've identified as a black person all my life, that's crazy. So she and Trump and that whole GOP thing, that whole MAGA thing, they are desperately trying to redefine Kamala and make Kamala who they want Kamala to be, not who Kamala knows that she is. So first, they're trying to create a scandal. Second, they're trying to redefine Kamala. And the third thing is the most problematic. They're trying to create a distraction. They're trying to create a distraction. And as I said earlier, I'm very familiar with this. As a litigator, as an attorney, when we're going up against opposing counsel, one of the things that opposing counsel loves to do is to get everybody's attention, to get the jury's attention off some basic facts, right? If it's a civil rights case, they don't want the jury focused on the fact that our client was discriminated against.
That's exactly what the Democrats are doing. It's called projection. They want you to be focused on whether or not she's black or Indian or something like this, but not drilling down into the few policies that she has laid out that has not been from Donald Trump. Because the first few policies she's pulled out was a direct copy of Donald Trump. Y'all want to keep this about identity. Well, those fair-thinking people such as myself, we don't want to keep this about identity. We don't give a care what color she is. How's her policies gonna make my life better? That's what we want to know. But no, y'all keep going back to this. Even with these clowns such as Ricky Smiley, he sounds so dumb when he said she went to a HBCU. And does that make her black? Because black is not a color. Supposedly, black is supposed to be culture. It's about how you grew up. It's not about washing collard greens in the bathtub like she said she did. And if you ate those, I bet you had E. coli. You probably still got E. coli.
If it's a criminal case, they don't want to focus. The prosecutor doesn't want to focus on the fact that our client could not have committed this crime because he was in another state. So what do? They create distractions. And that is exactly what Candace Owens and Donald Trump and Byron Donalds and that whole side over there are desperately trying to do. Keep the focus off, really, of two people, and one in particular. The first person they don't want focus on is Donald Harris, who is Kamala Harris's father. And as you see, it is obvious that this man is a black man. It is obvious. That is.
Now, he has actually denounced his daughter, Kamala Harris, for being silly, for saying stereotypical things about Jamaicans. If there's anybody that can put this thing to rest, it's her father. This guy right here. He's still alive, well and kicking. He lives here I've heard he lives in the DC area. He can come out and kill all this stuff. But do we know why he hasn't came out? Well, one of the reasons why is he actually identifies as Irish American. I don't know no black Irish people. So while this guy here is showing this Photoshop image of what's supposed to be her father, look at this. If this ain't Photoshop, I don't know what is. And I can tell by the edges of his hair, they did a little bit of extra work as far as Photoshop on the edges of this guy's hair.
Is a brother. That's a black man. That's a black man. And if he is Kamala's father, which he is, then Kamala's black. Okay? And the second person, and most importantly, they really don't want focused on, is Donald Trump. They don't want the country focused on Trump at all. They want to focus on Kamala's race, whether she's black, whether she's white. They want to focus on anything but Donald Trump, because all the baggage that he brings to the table, as well as the people around him.
If they don't want the country to focus on Donald Trump, well, it hasn't worked. They've been focused on Donald Trump for 8 years. At this point, it's 9 years up to today. So if that's the plan, that plan has failed miserably. But they have tried to assassinate this man twice. They have called this man, I don't want to say the word because this is going to be on YouTube, the man with the funny mustache. They called him that. They called Donald Trump all types of stuff. So if they want to keep the focus off Donald Trump, well, they have not done a very good job of that at all.
Like Mark Robinson. They don't want you focused on
him
Trump
into that.
and Mark Robinson and Laura Loomer and all these other people. They want you focused on whether Kamala is black, whether she is white, whether her father is truly Jamaican, whether her father is the Marxist and all this other stuff, rather than focused on Donald Trump and Project 2025, the things that really matter here. They don't want us focused on those things. So what are they doing? They're doing exactly what opposing counsel does.
This guy is a dummy. Donald Trump's came out and said he don't have anything to do with Project 2025. The Heritage Foundation said Donald Trump don't have anything to do with Project 2025. They're the ones that drafted it. Donald Trump said he hasn't read it. He said he's not going to read it. Now, what Donald Trump has, and it's on his website, is called Agenda 47. And it actually says what he's going to do. Why do these people come out here and just lie? They just come out here and they just lie. Donald Trump has nothing to do with Project 2025, but he knows that. He's supposed to be a lawyer.
In our cases, they are trying to create distractions to take the jury's mind, and we are the jury, the American people. We are the ones who will decide who has made their case the best. And if we allow Candace Owens and others to take our focus off Donald Trump, then that increases their chance of winning, right? Because Trump's record is terrible. It is awful.
No, it ain't. It's actually
Number one,
pretty
he's
good.
a threat to our democracy.
Wrong.
The man literally said he will be a dictator at least on day one. He told a group of Christians if they reelect him, if they help reelect him, he will fix it.
They come out here and say that he is going to be a dictator on day one. There is no mechanism. And the way that our government is set up right now, there's nothing. Even if he said it, there's nothing that would allow him to be a dictator. Nothing. If anybody been a dictator, it's been this Biden-Harris administration. While not complying with the Supreme Court orders, President needs executive orders and all this type of stuff, not having primaries where people can vote to elected officials. No one voted Kamala in there. They just selected her. They don't have anything to do with democracy. You talk about being a dictator. That's dictatorial behavior right there from y'all Democrats.
Where they won't have to vote again. He is a threat to democracy. He is chummy with a whole bunch of autocrats.
Hold on, we're gonna go back and listen to this. We need some explanation on this little tidbit that he said.
Democracy. The man literally said he will be a dictator at least on day one. He told a group of Christians if they reelect him, if they help reelect him, he will fix it where they won't have to vote again.
He said that. That is true. But do you know what that means? All that means is that this is his second term if he wins as president, and there's no way that they can vote for him again. But you see how they twist things to make it seem bad? But they'll just say these things.
He is a threat to democracy. He is chummy with a whole bunch of autocrats and authoritarian figures around the world. He is a threat to our democracy.
Which he should be
is
chummy with them,
white
as you say.
supremacist.
And he's not a white supremacist.
We see that. We've seen it over the years.
There's
but we
no
see
proof
that
of
most
it.
recently when he claimed that black people, Haitians in this case, are stealing people's pets and eating them. Dogs and cats. It's crazy to even say this, but it just shows you how much of a blatant white supremacist Donald Trump is. And that too.
That has nothing to do with being a white supremacist. It's videos and 911 calls that those people in Springfield, Ohio has said and done this. And not only that, Haitians, voodoo is like huge down in Haiti. And they just bring that behavior up here and they sacrifice animals and things of that nature. That has nothing to do with white supremacy. Nothing at all. Just because something was said about a person of color, as they call it, is white supremacy. You can't say nothing. You can't say nothing about if you're a white man. And well, these days, even if you're conservative such as myself, you can't say nothing about a person of color. If you do it, then all of a sudden you a white supremacist when you say these certain things. Instead of, if you just believe on truth and what makes sense, and in this particular issue, truth, what makes sense is 911 calls, videos that I've seen, first person testimonials of what I've seen. I mean, what else? I'm not there in Springfield, Ohio, but I would take those things to be true. And if that's their culture, I mean, it is what it is. We just don't do that in the United States for the most part. They may do it down in New Orleans, though.
Who, quite frankly, is a distraction. Because if he can get you and get us and the country, the media, and everybody focused on this alleged claim that he made that Haitians are eating people's dogs and cats, what does that do? That takes the focus off him. It too becomes a serious distraction.
Dummy. It actually does the opposite. It puts the focus on him because this is what you're saying. And it was a big deal when he said it in the debate. How dumb or jaded or blind or paid are these people? It puts the focus on him. You're talking about it right now.
So he's a threat to democracy. He is a blatant white supremacist, and I could go back at least 50, 60 years showing you how racist and how much of a white supremacist Trump is. But
do it right now. But something tells me he's not going to do it.
Do your own research.
Yeah, there you go.
He's also a threat to civil rights. As African Americans, we must keep our focus on who would be a threat to civil rights, because we are still very much enthralled in the fight for full equality. And therefore, protecting our civil rights is extremely important for us African Americans. We cannot allow him or Candace Owens or Byron Donalds, Tim Scott, all the rest of them to cause us to take our focus off what's really important here. And what's really important here is Trump and his malfeasance and his record.
You talking about rights and civil rights and things of that nature. You mean to tell me Donald Trump is a threat to rights, civil rights, when y'all done brought in millions of illegal migrants that have committed crimes and not been prosecuted? You let some of these brothers do some of the crimes that these illegal immigrants have committed. They be under the jail, next to the jail. They be under the new jail before the new jail is built. But these people can come in here and commit crime. And you talking about rights? You talking about the Democratic Party is the party of censorship, and your vice president has said as much. We need to quail down on people speaking freely. She has said such things. You talking about rights? Man, these people are something else.
And the threat that he is to this nation. He wants to take us back to Jim Crow. That's precisely what he means when he says he wants to make America great again. When was America ever great for blacks? Never. So he must be talking about Jim Crow, or even worse, slavery. What else?
America was great for blacks prior to 1965. And the reason is, I understand that there were laws in place, this, that, and the other, but black folks was married at a rate of 80% prior to 1965. 8-0. Zero, which means we had families, which means we had communities, and which meant we were together. Today, if you look at black women in particular, which black men are included in that, 26% of black women will ever marry anybody. So how is that good for the black community? I would venture to say, back when we had all these Jim Crow laws and all that stuff in place, as a community within ourselves, we were much better because we had families and we were together. And if you know about life, life is really about people. Life is not about going on trips and career advancement, corporate ladders, and all of that stuff. Now, if you have family, all that stuff is enhanced by that. But family has to come first, which we had families. Today, we don't.
Wants to implement Project 2025 and
We've
all the
already talked about
horrors
that.
of Project 2025. He wants to implement those things. He doesn't
What would harm America? I've never heard of America. What is America?
want us focused on Project 2025. He doesn't want us focused on his threat to civil rights. He doesn't want us focused on the fact that he's a white supremacist or a threat to our democracy. He wants us talking about Kamala Harris's race. He wants us talking about everything but what's important in this race. Don't you allow him to do that. He doesn't want us focused on the fact that he is a convicted felon 34 times and still faces criminal charges. He doesn't want to.
And all that is due to the Democrats. It's something called lawfare. If you line everything up, they try to assassinate this man twice. They try to break him financially. They're trying to break him by charging him with felonies, and they're trying to throw him in jail. Oh, is that just by happenstance?
Us talking about that. He doesn't want us focused on that. That's the last thing he wants us focused on. So what are they doing? Creating distractions. Creating distractions. He doesn't want us focused on the fact that he's an insurrectionist. That he literally led a bloody, deadly insurrection against this country. He did everything he could.
Which he did not. He actually tweeted out, "Go there in peace." And then he actually said, when the stuff was going down, he actually said, "Leave in peace." He actually said that, and there was no deadly, bloody, or anything like that. And it's on tape. Again, if I could edit, I'd put that here, but he was asking for the National Guard, and for whatever reason, Nancy Pelosi was in charge of that, and she decided not to send the National Guard, and she admitted as such in the video that we seen. So all this bullshit that he talking about, I mean, this video for him, 13 minutes, nothing but lies. Everything this guy said is lie. If he was telling the truth, I'll point out the truth. But I haven't heard the truth, so I'm just pointing out lies.
To prevent the peaceful transfer of power, he created this big lie and used that lie to try to overturn, to basically commit a coup, rather than do what every American president has done since the founding of this country.
If he tried to do all that, how did Joe Biden end up in office? Can somebody tell me if what this guy is saying, that Donald Trump did not want to be out of office? Donald Trump left office. He took his ball and went home. That's why we have had all the last 4 years of Biden Harris up to this point. What is he talking about? I know what he's talking about. His wife runs his household. That's what this is about. If you don't vote for Kamala, you getting up out of here, when he paid for the house.
A peaceful transfer of power once they were defeated in the elections. So he doesn't want us talking about the fact that he is an insurrectionist. He doesn't want us talking about any of that. He doesn't want us talking about COVID and how he mishandled that and hundreds of thousands of people died unnecessarily. He doesn't want us talking about that. What does he want us talking about for the next 40-something days until November 5th?
And they always say he mishandled COVID, but I have yet to hear a Democrat to say how they would have did it different. I don't think any person in leadership knew what the fuck to do about COVID. Donald Trump had a stellar presidency up until the point of COVID. And I would venture to say that if there was a Democrat in there, they probably would have handled it just as much. Actually, they would have handled it worse because they shut down the whole country. Donald Trump actually gave the power to the states to do what you must. So really, whatever they did, it wasn't in his hands. Democratic state, Republican-led state, whatever the case. He said he left it up to the states. Do what y'all do. And I bet you if it was a Democrat in power, they would have been like, shut this shit down. And that would have been detrimental to everybody involved. And they was getting on Ron DeSantis down in Florida because he opened up earlier than anybody else. These Democratic states, they were still closed down and they weren't even complying with the dumbass 6 foot and the stupid ass mask. They were out there just having a jolly old good time.
Kamala's race or some fake scandal or his attempt to redefine who that woman is. But we're not going to let him. We're not going to let him. We're going to stay laser focused on who this man is so that we can prevent that man from ever occupying 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue again. And how do we do that? Again, we stay focused. We get out to vote.
Y'all lie.
We go vote.
You lie.
And by the way,
you lie.
I want you to go to a website. The website is iwillvote.com. And check to make sure that you're registered. Make sure that they have not removed your name. Make sure you are all ready to go. Share that website with other people. Again, it is iwillvote.com. I am not being hyperbolic when I say that this is the most important election in our lifetime, possibly for this country. Because if Trump gets in the White House, we already know what he and the others who are around him will do. They have made it very clear.
Yep, they made it very clear. He's going to make sure we're energy independent, which means your gas prices are going to go down, which means your electric bills are going to go down. Now, number one, when the gas prices go down, that has an effect on everything because everything has to be transported in some way or the other. There's other things that he's going to do that will be directly beneficial to us as normal, everyday American citizens. That's what he's going to do. Let me tell you something. He has a lot of good things that I like, but I tell you what, I'll vote because he's going to bring these gas prices down because I know how that trickles down to everything else. I'm voting just because of that. And then he says, I'm a person who works overtime. I ain't going to have no tax on overtime. So I looked at my overtime. I'm all happy. How much taxes are they taking out? Yeah. I don't work on tips, but for those people who do, I know you guys are happy about that. He said he's going to do no tax on tip. And if we go by his first term, he came in office and said he was going to do these things and do this and do that. He did exactly about 99% of what he wanted to do, but he was still fighting the mainstream media like he does now. He was still fighting the establishment Republicans like he got going on now. He was still fighting the evil Democrats like he is fighting right now, amongst other things. So that's going to be the end of this video. This guy right here, bruh. He just, if you look at it, go look at, besides this guy, go look at 2-3 different Democrats or liberals. They're saying the exact same thing that this guy is, which means that they gave them their papers, they gave them their talking points, and they're saying this is what we need to say about Donald Trump instead of just being organic and real about it. You may as well have a teleprompter and lie, just lie, make up stuff, lie.